went back for the second day. The second one he picked up looked like all the vendor tables are generally full now. I see all the same ones from yesterday. Cool, the 501st Legion. They're always cool to see. Awesome. And more activities outside too. I'll show you what's going on outside. Hey. This is the vendor room. I'll go over all the parts again. See what's different from yesterday. Okay. I think that's for laser tag. And that stage over there, I think what they're going to use for some of the cosplay contest. Nothing over there going on now. I don't think that's till later. Well, check inside the gaming suite again, see if anything changed. A little bit more people here today for this.
They're a lot bigger than I thought they would be. How much do these weigh? Are they heavy? They're not really heavy at all.
Lightweight ABS glass. Yeah, it's not so bad. When you start getting into some of the resin and fiberglass, it gets a little scary. But for the most part, a lot of them, like the Tide Power, the Stormtrooper, Star Harrison, they're all ABS plastic. Like the Clonus resin, Mercus resin. But putting it all on, heat and everything.
Yeah, I imagine it gets trapped a lot.
They feel it.
Heat is from it.
Yeah, Batman one, old school Batman. Looks like they sold the Stewie one. They had Stewie Griffin up there. Pretty cool. It looks like she has some more over here. Yeah, that's old school wax back. I've seen that movie in forever. Look at that, the Rocketeer. Jeez.
I'm not seeing.
Makes me feel old. Kind of cool stuff here. And this is who's selling all this neat stuff if you're interested.
Do you like this or you're more? Okay, that's fine.
Look how cute these things are. The Joker. That's must be Jervis Sept. I don't know who that character is. Oh, Star Trek, look at that. Oh, look, Captain Kirk. That's awesome. Some cool stuff. Oh, look at this. Seen this the other day. Fact or crap? It's your call. That is cool. Some more cosplayers here today too. And this is supposed to be Carl. I didn't point out earlier, but I filmed it. They have sand art. That's okay. They have a sand art table too. So you pay to do some sand art, which is cool. Yeah, Thor and Thanos' glove. Iron Man's helmet. That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, look who I ran into here at Auburndale City Con. Adventures by George.
Hey everybody.
So what do you think of the convention? Enjoying it?
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy here in a few moments. Somehow they've roped me into doing this panel, so do me a big favor. Film the whole thing for me. Because my wife could not make it here today. She's busy exchanging a dress or something. That's way more important than coming to a panel. But yeah, film the whole thing for me. Put it on the internet. That'd be great.
Is this your second year coming here?
This is the second year. They didn't do it last year. Although I would have come last year if they'd have done it. But,
Cool.
yep. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you too. Thanks.
And so we are going to invite Donovan Dowdy. He is the owner of Commemorative Comics, and he has agreed to come in today and tell us a little bit about his love for comic books and the geek culture of Polk County here. Donovan, how are you doing today? We're very happy to have you here.
Thank you very much.
And one last thing before we do get started, I want to thank our mayor and commissioner for being here. This is Mayor Tim Hospital. Would you stand and greet the crowd? And he is here with Commissioner Dorita Taylor-Boger. And they are just great at keeping the city alive and providing a lot of fun things for us to do as we work, live, and play here in the city of Auburndale. So, to get started, Donovan, you are a comic book guru.
Yes.
As you like to be called. And how did this start for you? How did you get into or catch the bug with comics?
When I was about 3.5, 4 years old, my grandmother, who lived through the Depression, would go to the grocery store 2-3 times a week to buy groceries. She didn't want to be pestered by me, so I sat by the spinner comic book rack with my grandpa while she went grocery shopping. And what I do is called commemorative comics. I research when you were born, your month, year, and your favorite superhero, and I try to find your birthday comic. So I have a couple of samples I can show you here, but what I was just talking about, when I first looked at comic books, my grandma didn't buy it for me. I just look at them, and the first books she got me was Roadrunner, Casper, things like that, Archie. But I found a website I could go back in time and look month by month. I'm like, I remember that cover, I remember that cover. I found the earliest one, and I was about 3.5 or 4. This is Casper in Space. And I remember him roasting the marshmallow by the sun. And so I found this on eBay and bought it. I love eBay. But
And that's pretty cool. There's a lot of really catching covers for comic books.
yes.
That's something that draws myself to him, is looking at the artwork and illustrations. How important do you sort of rate that cover art to the contents of the comic book?
It really is a lot. The cover really is a big thing. If we have time, I'll talk about how they grade comics and things like that as well. But it catches your eye, and it leads you to possibly buy it or not. I was born in September 1969, so I got a couple of my books. This happened to be a key issue. It was the first Falcon in Captain America. It's number 117. And then I had a Submariner, also from September of 1969, number 17. So
and some of these are pretty new to me. Submariner, where does he come from? Like, where does he fit into that universe?
I believe his first appearance was Fantastic Four number 4. There's rumors of him being in a movie on and off every few years, so we won't know until it really happens, but there's talk about it. So.
Okay, right on. And so you research these. How long does it take when you get someone's birthday or so till you hit your mark with that research?
What I do is it's probably 2 to 4 hours on my end. I'll locate it, find it, communicate back and forth, and if it's something you want, I can find it through local stores, on eBay. I have a couple vendors that I've bought from before that what you see won't get damaged in the mail when they send it because it comes in a cardboard box, things like that, and it's just a waiting process, the 5 to 10 business days or whatever. So, but if there's more, if you like Batman and there were 3 covers for that month when you were born, I can send you a screenshot like which one do you like the best, which one would look good on your wall or whatever, and then I just pull the trigger and order it when you're ready. So.
And is there a database or like a place that you found as like a one-stop shop for comic book research?
Multiple places. The like the Overstreet price guides. Here's last year's. They get thicker over time. Yeah, this is number 46 from last year. But my first one, my earliest one, is I actually found number 7. They were a lot smaller, both height-wise, width-wise, and thickness. I study them. I read the articles. I look at the prices. One of my favorite books of all time, I have 2 copies of the first appearance of Black Panther, which was Fantastic Four number 52. I bought them in the early 90s, one for $20, one for $60. The $20 one I sold for $400 about 2 summers ago. The $60 one is now worth $6,000. So it's just because he was under the radar. And when I was a kid, I wanted to buy the first Spider-Man. When I was going want, it was $800. I couldn't afford that. So reading Overstreet, I found out what was still under the radar, what I could afford, and from those articles I made hit lists, and I went out and found them and bought them.
So one of those, what's it called, a trope in the popular world or so, like, got a kid, he's got the untouched number 1 Spider-Man,
Yes.
like, oh man, that guy's so cool, he's got that. How does that hold up today with today's modern comic books, those first print editions? Like, how do we see those value over time nowadays?
It's really hard. If I could go back in time to the 1970s, I would be a kid in a candy store. This one, like Hulk 181 with the first Wolverine and things like that. You just don't know. I have a single by my desk over there at the back, and it's just, why would you love? Don't do it for the money. Do it because you love it, because it steadily goes up. But there's been downturns too, and the people that were in it only for the money, they get out. The people that did it because they love comics, they stay in it year after year. So.
Yeah, and I found some people that are hardcore fans. They're just really drawn to the medium. So how does that? Now, do you find these guys that get into comic book mediums? Are they avid book readers, or what sort of media do they tend to consume when you're a comic book nerd?
You get both. You get some people that just get it and they treat it like a stock market, but then you get some that just, they really get into it. Something that you mentioned made me think of something. When in the late 1990s, right before Y2K hit, they were talking about digital comic books. And I'm like, well, wait a second. You've got to touch it, trade it, hold it, you know. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I was fearful that comic books were going to go away. And there were comic book shops going out of business. What was keeping them open was the D&D games and things like that, but they weren't staying open because of the comic books alone, so they brought it out. But I'd say in the last 7-8 years, there's just been a whole new wave of young folks that are getting back into comic books, and it's just fun. I mean, I was looking through some lawn boxes, and there's like this 12, 13-year-old girl 3 boxes down from me, and she said, do you have any old Silver Surfers? I can't find any in here. And I'm like, yes, kids are reading comic books again. And what I did is, to my nieces and nephews in the late 90s, I would give them some of my books as presents to kind of pass that torch on, because it was dying in the late 1990s. But I consider this a new golden age of comic books. It's fun. All the new TV shows and movies that come out, it's a great time to be a comic book fan. Because when I was in 8th grade and going into high school, you kind of were a closet comic book fan. You didn't tell people because they thought you were like super nerdy, but now it's cool.
Cool. And then, so to kick things into like the business sense of being a comic book owner, you started out here in Polk County with your
Yes,
comic books?
I taught at Auburndale High School. Any TV kids out there? And I've had a video business for many years, probably 15, 20 years. I did Miss Auburndale and Little Miss Auburndale and other things. So a lot of people in Auburndale know me as the video guy. And just about 2-3 years ago, I started with comic books. So some people call me the comic book guy. So, but it's just, but it has been a lifelong passion for over 40 years. I've been reading and studying and researching comic books and stuff.
Did you start out with like a supplier per se, or did you sort of go out and find your stock? And
those of you that are comic book nuts like me, whenever I go to a new town, I get on my phone, or 10 years ago the Yellow Pages, and I look for the local comic book shops, and I hit them up and see what they have. I go in and I'll spend an hour, hour and a half in a shop if I've never been in it, and just go through. And I know the numbers up here and in my head, and if I feel there's something that they haven't priced their books in 4 or 5 years, I look for the gold nuggets. And so I have books from probably 70 to 100 shops over my lifetime that I've bought books from. So yeah.
Okay. And have you ever doubted to create your own hero comic book yourself?
In that way, I'm not creative. I'm creative on the video side as my TV kids, but not in terms of drawing or writing or anything like that. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, we got a couple of minutes with this guest. I want to open up for some question and answer from the guests. Do we have any questions in the audience that you'd like to ask Donovan? Yes, Mr. Man.
How do you keep your most valuable comic books? Do you keep them in a safe, or how do you keep them? How do you store them?
Great question. There is a place right here in Florida, and they will certify your books. I've got 2 here. I'll pull them up real quick without the microphone.
All right. My name is Jeff Martz. I'm a member of the 501st Vader's Fist. We are a non-profit organization, and what we do is we do charitable events such as Make-A-Wish Foundation, St. Jude's Hospital, hospital functions for kids, those kinds of things, to raise money and awareness for medical situations for people, medical conditions for people, raise funds to help families pay for certain things with medical fees with hospitals with their children, anti-cancer funds like the Breast Cancer Foundation, those kinds of things. We try to have a screen accurate costume, and it goes on different what we call CRLs. It's basically the guidelines of what a specific character that you're trying to portray is. You take something like your standard Stormtrooper TK, the guidelines will give you what armor is needed, what kind of jumpsuit is needed underneath, what we call soft parts underneath. The weapon they would have, that they would be armed with, is a blaster or thermal detonators or whatever the case may be. We'd give that kind of character's background of what he needs for you to be able to be in the group to achieve that character, which would be different than something from, say, the TIE Pilot. TIE Pilot, there's not a lot of armor in a TIE Pilot except for chest box, helmet, backplate. So the guidelines are going to be different, and that's all listed in the 501st.com. And I believe on the Florida501st.com site, we also have some of those CRLs, as we call them. The other group that's represented here is another group that I'm also a part of, is the Mandalorian Mercenaries. And we kind of perform the same kind of functions in hand with the 501st. And another group that's out there, the Rebel Legion, which does Jedis, Rebel pilots, those kinds of guys. We all kind of gather together, and it's kind of a mix and match of what do you enjoy of the Star Wars movies. Would you like to be a Rebel pilot? Would you like to be an Imperial trooper? Would you like to be a Mandalorian mercenary and skirt around the cosmos as a bounty hunter with like Boba Fett and Jango Fett and those guys? The 501st, one of our mottos is bad guys doing good things. So that's what we try to do. We try to go out there and we try to be as comfortable as we can and screen accurate as we can while providing a good function raising awareness and funds for kids and families and people that need funding and help, and do something good for the community.
When you're appearing in your uniform, do you have to learn like certain body language to pertain to the character?
Yeah, some of the people do go that far into those kinds of characters. One of our young ladies that's here today, Ann, she does Jawa. Jawas typically don't speak, they're mischievous, they kind of do those things, so that's when she's out here interacting with the crowd, she kind of does that kind of deal where she's not going to say a whole lot, but she's going to use a lot of her body language and movement to to get what she's trying to get across, and people react to it because they go, I know that from the movie, what's going on, and there it is, they can feel it, they can touch it, they can see it and interact with it, and they go, that's cool. Stormtroopers, a little bit more solemn, a little bit more, rigid in their movements. There's a gentleman we got in Tampa that does Vader, and he's very, stolic. The guy is 6'7", I think. I mean, he's a big man, and he's very stiff and rigid and hard in his presence. When you look at him, you go, yeah, that's Darth Vader. When I'm doing my bounty hunter with the Mandalorian mercenaries, I do a more kind of stand off in the shadows. I'm kind of observing what's going on. People will come up to me and, can I take a picture? Please do, take a picture with us. We enjoy it. But I let people more come to me rather than kind of creep up on it, or, rather than pull up and interact with those guys, I kind of let them come to me, or I'll do the reverse where they'll be paying attention and doing something different. I'll just kind of get within between where you and I are right now behind them, and their friends that they're talking with generally react with, and then they turn around and go, where'd you come from? And it's kind of this, so it gives that effect of the bounty hunters creeping up when you type things. So body language kind of helps us get across some of the characters that we're portraying with these groups.
Now, I'm assuming it's just mainly volunteer. Is it a full-time job for you?
It's volunteer. It's all volunteer. I'm a firefighter by trade, so I'll go to work, and most of the time, most people don't even know that we do it. We're out, we're hanging out. You'll see a decal on our car. We may show a friend at work or something a picture of it, but for the most part, it's our time, our money, but we want to give something back to the society and the community. And we come out and do events like this, and kind of people come and ask us questions, and we talk with them, and we can get them information, and next thing you know, they're involved in those kinds of things. And it's cool because our kids are involved in it with us. I have a 21-year-old and a 9-year-old, and both of them are building, what we call a kit, whether it be Stormtrooper or Bounty Hunter or whatever. So they interact with it. They enjoy it, and that's kind of like our thing. We go and we enjoy it, relax, and we get to do good things.
And I'm assuming Star Wars is your favorite.
Oh yeah.
What do you think of the newest movies?
I like them. There's different points that are kind of, when you look at it from the very first one, which I saw in a movie theater at 5 years old, all the way through to what they've achieved with Solo. There's kind of this common thread that no matter how bad it is or what's going on, good people can step up. And it's kind of like the common thread of what the message is. It's masked in a lot of backstory and side stories and things like that, but they were enjoyable. I'm still, my favorite is Empire Strikes Back, which was 1980. Yeah, 1980. So that's my favorite one. My youngest one, her favorite one is the Last Jedi. The porgs and the side creatures that were in that movie. She enjoyed the main storyline, but it was the little side creatures that really made it for her. She enjoyed those more than the actual what was going on. The scene with Yoda was probably her favorite scene in the whole movie. It's like, I'd seen him in the movies you showed me on the DVD. So she had a reference point. She saw it was cool, and she enjoyed that.
Do you have a favorite character?
Boba Fett. I'm a Mandalorian guy through and through. Boba Fett to me was, he's got like 20 minutes of screen time, and he's like all of a sudden an iconic figure that nobody thought was going to be, anything more than a side note in the entire series.
So I'm assuming you would love to see a standalone movie with him?
Oh yeah.
You think it'll ever happen?
There's rumor of it, so who knows? They did Solo. I like Solo. It was an enjoyable movie, and maybe we'll get the same thing with Fett.
All right, cool. Thank you.